The man preached, you know, I don't know what he preached, but when he was finished, he said, right, I'm going to pray the prayer of faith. And all the years being in a church, I never heard tell of anybody praying for the sick. It was new to me. He said, now I'm going to pray the prayer of faith, and if you've got a sickness or a disease or a pain in your body, as I pray, you lay your hands on your own body and God will heal you. And I thought to myself, pigs will fly. But I wasn't going to miss out anyway, so I had a good look around. In a strange place, I'm allowed to look around. I'm on the back seat anyway, so there's nobody behind me. I had a look around and slipped my hands down onto my knees. And that man prayed, and I come out of that church and another pain or ache. Never told anybody that for years and years. Couldn't understand it. I couldn't figure it out. And then one day at work, and it was brazen, and whenever you melt brass, it runs like bubbles of water. Don't know what I done, but it was something very stupid anyway. But I got it in between the fingers of my hand. And I remembered that Sunday morning in Castle Dawson. Instead of going to the first aid room, I went to the toilet and I closed myself in a cubicle and I said, Lord, if you are really a healer, heal this hand. And immediately the pain left. I said to the Lord, heal this hand, and I'll give you my life and I'll preach you as a Saviour and healer. That's all I knew. I never even heard that word before. I used it that day. So the pain left. The next day there weren't even a mark in my hand. I had made a commitment that I just didn't have a clue how to fulfill. So life just went on, getting worse and worse. And it was in January 1967, on my way to meet the man at his front door, the presence of God just come so real. And I gave my life to the Lord. I was born again that night. I was changed. I sobered immediately. I then started to walk in a life that I knew absolutely nothing about. Talked to one or two people about Jesus healing, and they said, no, that's out of date. That doesn't happen anymore. And I was in a fix because I had made a commitment to God that I just hadn't a clue what I was going to do about it. But I read the Bible, sought the Lord, knew I had a problem. Even though I was saved, I still had a problem. Because I was rising in the morning and the tongue was still sticking to the roof of my mouth just the way it was when I was drinking. With 12 in a house, a 3-bedroomed house, you don't have much privacy. So any night I would get a chance, I would go up the mountain in the car and I'd pray and seek the Lord until I got rid of that. But I knew I needed deliverance. This was a generational curse. This is a generational spirit. I know a lot of people say there's no such thing. Once you're saved, you're free. I can tell you from experience. And I can tell you something else from experience. There's no limit to the grace and the mercy of God. Because I would have had it used up, it had to be. I made some mistakes. I got some things wrong. But I sought the Lord, I got rid of that. But I had another problem that I didn't know was a problem. That again was inherited. And it was speed. All drivers, listen to this tonight. If you're not in control of the vehicle, you need deliverance. If the vehicle takes over, or you think it's the vehicle taking over, it's something else. And it took me years to figure this one out. In fact, I didn't figure it out until the Lord set me free. I could be driving along absolutely normal, sensible, and this thing would just take over me and the foot would be to the board. No sense, there'd be no thought of somebody stepping out from anywhere. And that's the way it was until one night in 91. I was praying in a prayer meeting. There's people all around me, but as far as I was concerned, there was nobody there but me and the Lord. And I felt this thing leaving me. Now, I know it was 91, and I know it was sometime around the end of March. No, end of April, May. It was just prior to the Northwest 200, I mind that. And I was in the prayer meeting, and I was acting in our own house. And I felt this thing leave me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And when I went to go to work in the morning, I nearly had to learn to drive all over again. This thing was gone. I thought about it all day. It was nearly all day before I figured it out. And I remember coming home that night and saying to Eleanor, and going down, the trials or the practices was on at the Northwest. I said, I'm going down to the practices at Northwest. I hadn't went there for years and years, because my blood pressure just would have went up and down with the revs of an engine. And she thought, well, he's gone mad now, he's gone back to the race, and what else, what's coming next? But I wanted to go there to prove one thing. And I went down and I walked through the pits, the tents and everything else, and there were revving engines all around me, and they had no more any effect on me. I was free. If you're driving sometimes ways you don't want to drive, just ask the Lord to set you free, because it can be inherited.